and welcome to this week's episode of Weekend Intrigue. I'm your host, Twilling Skoll. Today, the downsides of printing your next phone. We take a closer look at the ranging plankton debate and the troubling truth about Montessori dog schools. But first, our guest today is from the MIT Institute of Cubicism, author of the best-selling book Look to the Cube, The Four Sides of Harmony, parentheses, the top and bottom doesn't count. Please welcome Xander Davies.
Hello, Twillings. Good to be here.
Xander, your book is a national seller. It has received critical acclaim from the Post and the Times. It was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize, too. And your theory was recently referred to by Jim Parsons as quantum. I've read it twice now, and it is, in a word, irrefutable.
Well, thank you. But of course, most of the credit goes to Dr. Jean Ray, the wisest human, and the original doctor of cubicism, to whom I was only a student while he still taught at MIT.
Yes, and for our listeners who don't know, Dr. Jean Ray, the creator of TimeCube, was killed earlier this year, trying to leave the atmosphere in a craft of his own design.
Yes, it's very sad.
And in your book, you postulate that yours and Dr. Ray's work is having real and immediate benefits on society here in the U.S. and perhaps the world. Tell me more.
Well, because of a recent reallocation of funds in the MIT Physics Department, we've been given the opportunity to dig deeper into cubicism, really dive into it. We're working the long hours, we're asking the tough questions, we're on social media, and what we're finding is that TimeCube has as many as 50 new followers.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's this month alone. And it's increasing at a rate of 17.8% a month. Viewership is trending upwards at a rate of 23.5%. And Twitter followers are increasing at a staggering rate. #TimeCube, #HarmonicTruth. I mean, the tweet tag relation matrix is curving almost exactly parallel, with 4.3% over the top side. So yeah. And those are real numbers, Twill. That's real impact.
Well, obviously, the implication here is huge. I mean, this could be the makings of some historic social change.
Exactly. In fact, if our Instagram continues on a rate of 5-point strat quotient increased stratified viewership for the quarter, we could be looking at some serious social change on the levels of Ed Snowden or Balloon Boy.
Now tell me, your book has obviously done well, but the same can be said for some of your previous work, including TimeCube, Think Outside the Cube. Why do you think that is?
Well, the funding wasn't there. I mean, we already had the theory, it just needed to be put together. Sure, we knew that there were 4 simultaneous 24-hour days. We knew that -1 times -1 equaled -1, right? We knew that circles didn't exist. But it wasn't until we started getting grant money. We got on campus, we got in the labs, we started making social media pages, we hired someone to manage all of those pages, then we fired them because we don't need them, we can do it ourselves, and we vined us firing them, put it on Instagram, and then boom, Suddenly TimeCube just clicked with the millennials.
Dr. Davies, I'm just going to say it, the biggest question on the minds of Americans.
Sure.
What does this mean for the Trump campaign?
Sure. Well, Twill, it means a lot. He's already taking advantage of the 4 separate simultaneous days to essentially quadruple his campaign presence. He got a big boost in the polls when he announced his public education plan to swap cube class for European history. He's basically reorganized his entire campaign structure into a cube.
I'm not sure I understand.
Exactly. I mean, this is a guy who knows that the Earth has 4 corners, with 4 simultaneous different days, He knows we're living in a world of opposites. And of course, he made recent headlines with what I'm referring to as the tweet heard round the world.
Right. And I believe for our listeners that you're referring to Donald Trump's recent controversial Twitter post in which he stated, Bush and Clinton are opposites and therefore cancel each other out. There is no energy there. You don't have two candidates. You've got a red candidate and a blue candidate and they're opposites. So what do you get when you add them? You get 0. There's no energy. They're stupid and evil. Time cube is the first thing I've read on the internet that makes any sense. And it goes on from there.
Yes, he certainly ruffled some feathers in Washington with that one. But he's won his way into the hearts and minds of the young people, and they are, historically, the most motivated voters. So did Time Cube clinch the election for Trump? It's hard to say. He probably already had it locked up anyway, but yes, it did.
Well, there you have it. Burgeoning discoveries in the fourth dimension leading to real results in the lives of Americans and in the life of Donald Trump. Don't go away. Coming up, in a depth look at the raging debate between plankton and krill and why the discriminating whale cares. And when we return, the emerging ethical crisis blown open in a small Kentucky town's Montessori dog school.
Oh, I got the syllabus, and I just couldn't believe how little the Holocaust was mentioned.
After they break.